Up, everybody? As you can see our faces. This is something new for the Hardwood brand. It's your boy D Hill, the gift card bandit.
Old man Ross, sweatsuits and fly kicks. Nothing
So
changed. How you
that
been
means
before we get it?
I've been all right, but now that we can see you, you're gonna have to wear a sweatsuit every episode.
Oh, that's nothing for me. Sean John. I could go back to Esco
A Nietzsche?
and Nietzsche. I gotta find a men's land to go
Oh,
to, and then I can just start lining them up. But yeah, I'm
maybe maybe the Crenshaw Mall have you covered.
maybe we'll see. I ain't been to the Crenshaw. When's the last time you been to the Crenshaw Mall?
Ooh, like inside the mall?
Yeah, not outside. This ain't this not the
Had to be
Grove.
like 2010.
Wait, I know this has nothing to do with basketball. 11 years ago.
Yeah. Remember I was going in there to the finish line or something to get some Hirachis or
Oh,
something.
and you got some Kobe's. Okay, okay. My
Yeah.
bad. Continue your intro. Apologize.
Nah, so we just wanted to, let you guys know this is gonna be a new format for us going forward. We
Mhm.
realize there's a trend of everybody doing the quarantine and the pandemic to go the Zoom route. But we just I don't know, for some reason we just didn't do it. But now we're gonna go in that direction just so we can bring on more guests and they can feel comfortable being in their own surroundings as well as us too. We all realize the world is opening up, but for the time being, we're just gonna keep it safe and just try to give you guys consistent content going forward. So this will be a new avenue for us. You'll still be able to listen to the podcast, but if you wanted to view it, you can go to our YouTube page and the link will be there, and we'll link it uh, at the bottom, and we'll put it on social media as well. So, how's everything been, brother?
Oh, I can't complain, man. I was a little in the beginning of this pandemic. I was a little hurt. We couldn't hoop. We couldn't get any shots up. But my family's safe. I'm safe. You're safe. That's all that matters. All the loved
Yeah, for
ones. I'm
sure.
I'm good. This is gonna sound crazy. I actually enjoyed the shutdown portion for stuff I had to take care of. If I gotta go to Trader Joe's and go, nobody was out. The stores was closed. Like it was minimum people. Now everything is opening back up. I kind of don't like it. Traffic, being in LA. But overall, I'm good. You? How's the family?
Same, man. Same.
Mhm.
It's funny because in the beginning they were like, "Oh, you got to stay home and you can't do this, you can't do that," and it was kind of like, "Ah, man, like what are we gonna do?" But
Mhm.
um, we were still able to do the basic things, like you said. Like I enjoyed like the no traffic, and I enjoyed like going to the stores and then not being too crazy. But now it's like everything's back to normal, and
Back to normal. It's crazy. It's
people
crazy.
back on this rat race again. So
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, overall, everybody is safe and good, and that's all that
yeah,
matters.
yeah.
Um, the gyms are back open now. I know a couple of my hoop buddies hit me up to come and get some shots up. So maybe within the next couple of months, I'll feel more comfortable going back
Right.
into the gym, or we just start our own little league or something. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. Wink.
Yeah, wink, wink. But other than that, everything is good, man. NBA, as you saw, is in full force. Fans are back, which I think helped a lot of players, including
Yeah,
PG. Um, and just before we get to the finals, I think the playoff portion was a lot more interesting this year than any other year because the regular teams that everybody expected to be there in the finals or the Western Conference,
right,
they didn't make it. They didn't
right,
make it.
right.
But a lot had to do this season. We could put an asterisk next to this season because of injuries and the quick turnaround that from the bubble you get a month off and now you're back. Every team had major injuries or minor injuries, but a lot of them. From
Yeah, for
from
sure.
the Lakers, obviously, and then the Clippers. Denver, a lot of teams had key injuries, I think, that hurt them towards the end of the playoff. I mean, towards the playoffs, and then trying to move forward to get to the finals. So, that's
Yeah. I mean, I felt the same way. Like I think the regular season, it was an entertaining regular season, but the playoffs kind of kicked it up another notch.
hmm
I think the matchups that happened from each round were very intriguing, very competitive, and a lot of teams were hungry. And like you said, like everybody expected us to be watching the Lakers or the Clippers versus Philadelphia or the Nets, and here we are with two small market teams that nobody outside of these teams' fan base thought would make it to the NBA Finals. So,
no, nobody, but
um,
nobody at all. Nobody.
yeah,
I
because
agree with that.
Phoenix was a good team, but we
Mhm.
all knew like, oh, they only are playing well because the Lakers are hurt and the Clippers are just doing whatever they do. But once the Lakers get back full strength, you know, Utah will slide down, Phoenix will slide down, but it just never happened because
It never
LeBron and AD
happened.
stayed out.
Yeah.
And Phoenix, in turn, they just got a lot of confidence and they just started balling like out of control. Like I love to watch them. They're fast paced, and we're big fans of Monty Williams. Uh, and for him to get another opportunity with another team, and for the players to lock in with his system, they got something going. I mean, not to spoil it, I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about our predictions and everything, but
They got a squad though. They got
yeah,
a
I'm
squad
staying
for
out
sure.
west with my predictions.
Yeah, no. And just to piggyback off what you said about Phoenix, we saw them start to make that transition last year in the bubble when they went
Yeah.
8-0, and Devin, everybody was like, Devin Booker's he's a stud. He's one of Kobe's disciples and all that. But we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we knew that before, but maybe a lot of people that don't watch basketball as much as we do didn't realize how good Devin Booker was. You mentioned Monty Williams. We know he's a great coach. We know what happened with his family. Him and Chris Paul linked back up.
Hmm.
Um, and Monty is cut from that Popovich cloth. So as you see all the coaches that succeed leaving from Pop, I mean, you look back and you're like, oh, okay, from Carlisle to whoever it might be, Popovich does a great job giving you the knowledge. And those guys, if you played for them or if you coach with
Hmm.
them, they take that and most of them are successful. So that's why it is a surprise to say Phoenix, because you're like, well, who else do they have? But it's not about just names, as we'll talk about in the playoffs. You got to have role players, and those guys
Right.
stepped up at the right time. And Aiden is doing what everybody expected this Aiden to be who they drafted, but maybe it was
Right.
player development and it just took time and injuries. But Phoenix is balling, man. I have no issues with them if they win the chip. Um, we know they're playing Milwaukee, which people were expecting Milwaukee to be there 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest move for them is Drew Holiday. And me and you
Hmm.
both like Drew Holiday a lot. So I think that is what everybody had injuries. We keep talking about Brooklyn and other people and Philly, but I just think them having a real point guard that plays defense
Hmm.
helped them a lot. No, slight to Eric Bledsoe, who they had,
All
and
right.
other guards they've had in the past, but now Chris Middleton, he can play his position. He doesn't really have to bring the ball up. Giannis doesn't have to bring the ball up, which he shouldn't anyway. And then Lopez and the rest of those guys just started. They started clicking on all cylinder. You got Bobby Portis, you got the sneaker king, PJ Tucker.
Yep.
You just have good pieces, man. And I think a lot of people now they hear about the super teams and a bunch of names being thrown on different teams, but it's more than just the names. I think you just got to have guys that know their position, know their role, and they're cool with that. You know,
Right.
so that's how I feel about Phoenix, and that's how I feel about Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to the Suns, like you were talking about the role players, Cameron Payne,
Mm-hmm.
our boy Crowder.
Yeah, I like Jay
You
Crowder a
can go
lot.
down the whole roster.
Mike
But
Mikael Bridges.
yeah, Mikael Bridges, those
Mm-hmm.
three for sure help Phoenix, uh, you know, become successful because we all know Chris Paul has his injury bug hit him every year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And we all thought like, oh, here we go, Chris Paul's hurt again. So you know, we thought the Suns were gonna be done. But Cameron Payne came in and was like, hey, look, man, I'm here. Like I've been in the league,
Stepped up.
I've improved my game, and I am
Mm,
ready to, show the world what I can do. And that's exactly what he did.
you're right.
And Jay Crowder gonna be Jay Crowder. He's gonna be
I
that
like him.
dog that's in
He's a
there. And
dog. He's a dog, man. And he was in the finals last year
exactly.
with
He's just
Jimmy
one of those
Butler.
type of he's just one of those type of role players you need. He's not going to throw up big numbers all the time, but he is good for just getting in somebody's head and hitting
Mm-hmm.
timely threes.
Mm-hmm.
Same with
Mm-hmm.
Mikael Bridges. They seem like throughout this whole playoffs when they needed a big three,
They can
Mikhail hit
rely
one
on
from the
him.
corner, or Jay Crowder hit one from that little I don't even know how to
Between the corner
going
and the
into the
middle.
corner. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah. I know what you
longest
mean.
three out
Yeah,
there. He
yeah,
would
that's his
hit that
shot
every
though.
time.
That's his shot though.
So
And Chris Paul
yeah,
was taking him home too. He was taking him
exactly. I
home.
mean, he sent blood in the water against the Clippers in that last game, game six, and took it to him.
I mean, that's just and people. Some people feel some type of way about Chris Paul, but overall, we know he's a great point guard.
Yeah.
He's a great leader, and then off the court, I mean, his list is endless. But
Yeah.
it would be dope for him to win a championship this year, just because it's a storybook ending for him. He took out his
Hmm.
old team, the Clippers. I mean, he put it to him, like you mentioned. And then to beat Milwaukee, if Giannis plays or not, that's still a NBA caliber team with all stars on there. If Giannis doesn't
Right.
play, a ring is a ring.
Yeah.
People won't remember. Oh, well, this guy got hurt, this and that, and they won't remember that. Even though I said an asterisk next to the season, there's not really an asterisk next to the season.
No.
It's just mental notes. But a ring is
Yeah. I
a
mean,
ring.
because all the Laker fans, they're not saying that about they chip from last year in the
With
bubble.
the bubble, you're right. You're right. No, no, no. You
So
know that. You know that. But it was this close, man. That's why I got my little Battle LA hat on for Paul George and the rest of them. Before we get down to the breakdown, well, we could wait because I was gonna say, do you think the Clippers will be back? As an
uh
ex-Clipper fan, that's
I
you.
think they'll if they keep most of the players there, I think they'll be back. I think they proved a lot to themselves during this playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of exercise a couple demons, not all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody says it's cursed. They can't get out of the second round. They got out of the second round. They were down 0-2 in both what no, three series, right? Yeah, they were
Mm-hmm.
down 0-2 in all three series, and they pretty much battled back. I mean, with the exception of the Phoenix series, but they showed a lot of character. A lot of players stepped up. My biggest question is, are they going to be able to keep Reggie Jackson, or will some
Right.
other team throw a big contract at him and he just has to go for it? Um, I don't know. It'll be interesting, but Kawhi has to play. Paul George
And
has
then
to continue to play at a high level and just not care what other people have to say, because it was like during the playoffs he of course he made costly mistakes as far as missing free throws and not playing well, but he also balled out. Like he had
no, yeah.
5 or 6 games straight with 30 plus points. So
He actually had the most points in the playoffs. He
yeah,
led all players in points, and they had a breakdown
and minutes
uh,
and minutes.
and minutes. So I just think one, and I know Charles and Shaq said if you're a superstar, you're gonna get criticized, and they're gonna
Yeah,
absolutely they're gonna talk about you. The problem is the times are different. When Shaq and Charles and those guys were playing, there was no social media. So that it's one thing to get it from ESPN or NBA
Right.
TV, but you're getting it from all platforms, from everywhere, and then it's on repeat and repeat. And people don't realize Paul George didn't even come up with the name Playoff P. It was Carmelo who called him that.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
gem, people.
Melo was on the team with him in OKC, and then he brought up, "Oh, yeah, that's playoff P." Paul never said,
Ah,
"I'm playoff P," and then the people just ran with it. I just give you a little bit because we like Paul,
cha-ching.
um, but I think like you mentioned, Kawhi has to play. Hopefully they get Reggie Jackson back. It's crazy how the Clippers were so successful and they lost pieces with Lou Williams not being there and Montrez. I think that would have helped them get to maybe the finals if Kawhi was to still go down. You have other guys that can perform, especially Lemon Pepper Lou. He can give you buckets anytime. And Montrez is a double-double dog, as we mentioned, like a Jay Crowder type. I think that might have taken the load off of PG a little bit, and Reggie Jackson.
Yeah,
But Morris stepped up. That Zubac had a couple good games, and I think if
they
they
just
can
gotta
keep all the,
stay. They gotta stay healthy too.
that's most of the league though. And I think with this full break, if you're not going to Tokyo for the Olympics, you should be all right. Hope because
Yeah,
we don't want nobody to get hurt. We want it
nah.
to be a healthy league
We go through this every year when
every
we at
year, and then we get
the tip off.
heartbroken. So real quick, and we don't have to touch on all the Jazz. What'd you think overall? They played Memphis in the first round. Did you see anything that surprised you? Nothing. I mean, it was the usual, or
I'm just gonna be 100 with you, bro. I hate watching the Jazz play.
okay,
I watched
okay.
maybe like 2 games just so I could watch John Morant.
I
But
know
I'm
that's
not
your
like a
guy.
big Jazz fan. Like I don't like their style of play. Like I
Uh huh.
know you're a big Donovan Mitchell fan. I don't know. I just never can watch the Jazz.
It's
It's
like
just
watching the Spurs.
yeah. It's like it's like one of the TNT, the second game of TNT. Like we've seen OKC play Denver how many times? It's like
It's true. This is the truth.
I don't want to
This is the
see it.
truth.
So
Yeah.
I mean, Utah
Well,
they got a great team. I'm not a
will
nothing
they?
appealing.
Do you think it was just a fluke because of the Lakers and other teams being hurt that they were number
Nah,
one for the half the second half? I mean, they was at number one for the whole second half of the season after All Star.
yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think defensively they play well. I mean, you got Rudy Gobert down there, and I think they're all unselfish and they know their roles. And then it helps to have Jordan Clarkson come off the bench as another gun to,
Six
get
man.
buckets when they need to. I mean, then you got my boy YMCA out there, Joe Ingles. He can get a bucket on anybody going 2 miles per hour. So,
Bogdanovich too.
oh yeah, I forgot
That's
about him.
another
He was a key
YMCA.
piece.
Yeah,
Exactly.
two YMCA. So they should be back. Michael Conley was in and out with injuries,
Yeah.
but I think, like you mentioned, I still see them being a 3 or 4, even with the Lakers and the Clippers and everybody being healthy. They still can do something.
Yeah.
Um, we talked about the Clippers. What about Dallas? Did you see anything? They played the Clippers in the first round. We saw your favorite guy, Luka, and KP. He didn't do much. That's why they got put out.
I think Dallas will be the same situation next year if they don't add any pieces over the summer. Because Luca is ridiculous.
He's a dog, man. He's a dog for real.
Another person that goes at his own speed and you can't do nothing about it. You just got to deal with him. And the Clippers could not stop that high screen and roll against him, and he was giving Patrick Beverly the blues.
Yeah, he was. He was. But he is what you would say a true like hooper.
Yeah,
But basketball IQ through the roof.
yeah,
Because you mentioned him going at his own pace. That's against anybody. He's not
yeah.
speeding up for anybody. And it just sucks that he doesn't have consistent scores. I know I give KP a hard time, but he's always hurt. Tim
Mm-hmm.
Hardaway had a good season.
Yep.
You had other guys step up for them, but they just wasn't consistent. So I think if Luka could
Yeah.
get a little more help, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think so,
They're not
um,
gonna contend for anything, but they'll be all right.
they'll be all right. Well, not let's talk about not contending. We got your favorite team, the Trailblazers, played the Nuggets. Do you see anything happening with Dame? Can we get Dame some help?
I think there's no question that something needs to change. I mean,
Okay,
I know
okay.
they're gonna have a new coach in Chauncey Billups, uh,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, like they gotta retool because what they've had all these years Dame has been there is not working. I mean, I
Okay.
love CJ, but he probably got to go.
Well,
You got to get rid of CJ and get some pieces in there to help Dame out. I don't know
who
what. I
and
mean, I
yeah,
mean, I've heard rumors of Big Cat
that would be
possibly getting
nice.
traded there,
That
which I
would be
think would be
nice.
a good piece. But yeah, something got to change, man. It's just heartbreaking to watch Dame put all that effort into putting the teams on his back every single playoff run, and
Mm.
they come
I
up
fell
short
for him
every
this
year.
year. I think it was a
Yeah,
double overtime in the playoffs,
yeah.
and Dame did everything he could. He did everything, and they lost.
To
I'm like,
another slow motion man, the Joker.
well, hey, you just settle down right there, okay? But the Joker is A1 with me. You know that.
Oh yeah, he's
Um,
solid.
but I agree with you. Maybe they could send CJ to Dallas. I don't know who you would get because it's not much out there.
Yeah,
CJ helps Dallas, but does he really help them?
no,
So, but to piggyback, you mentioned the Joker. The Nuggets, I feel like, is another team that they're just there. Um, they have pieces. They're not the most exciting to watch either. The Joker
no.
can be at times throwing passes. Your boy Michael Porter Jr. played well this season, and I think he got a lot of minutes because once Jamal Murray went down,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think even our boy Will Barton was hurt in the beginning of the season. Sap him up, didn't really play that much.
Nah,
They
he
were
getting
trying to
old.
get no. They got rid of Gary Harris. They sent him to Orlando where you go to die. And I just feel like Denver, Portland, Dallas, Utah, a lot of those teams, they're just playing to make it to the playoffs, and then
Right.
they get put out. You
Yep.
know, um,
Agreed.
so I just don't see much out of the Nuggets. We talked about Phoenix. What about the Lakers? If they're healthy and they get all their pieces back from this season, or you think they'll run away with it or what?
I don't know about run away with it, but I think they'll be scary again. I mean,
Right.
you saw when they were all healthy and they were clicking. It was even in that Phoenix series. I think it was like game 2 or 3. I was like, I think I texted you. I was like, bro, these dudes is scary. Like when
Yeah.
everybody's playing well, like
Mm-hmm. AD,
it's hard to stop.
cheat code when he's healthy. That's
Yeah,
that's been the only thing with him from the jump is healthy.
yeah.
And
He
and
gotta
and
he
LeBron
gotta do something.
and LeBron is slowing down a little bit, but we say slowing down, he's still elite and top
Of
five in
course.
the league. Like he's slowing down for LeBron, but not for the rest of the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree with you, man. We got to see do they sign Schroeder to that big contract that he wants? Do they sign Montrez, who seems very unhappy? Do you bring Morris back? Do you try to trade Kuzma, who was kind of lost in the sauce?
Trash.
All he was doing was dyeing his hair. It seemed like he had different hairdos out there looking like the Golden Lord one night. Then he had a
And
Cisco look. I was like, man, I didn't know who he was till I looked at the jersey.
what's crazy? And when you look back at it, when the Lakers were, when your boy Magic was running the Showtime out there, they, yep, the Magic touch. It wasn't a good touch this last go around. because when you look at all the players that he let go, like that he traded away, they're all balling, and we can't touch Kuzma. You can't touch Kuzma.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like I told you before, I kind of give Kuz a little slack, just a little bit, because he's the only one that has continually had to play with a mega star. He played with Kobe, then he had a couple seasons when it was just all the young guys.
I think it was just one really,
Yeah,
if
one
that.
season. Yeah, that's right.
Then
And
then
then you
Brian
have
got
to
hurt. Yeah,
then you got to play with LeBron. It's like
yeah.
I don't know what to do. Like this dude yelling at me all the time, like to do stuff, and I just want to hoop. So
It'll
like,
make him
but
a
you
better
look at
player.
that group, like Brandon Ingram balling, Julius Randle balling, Lonzo you can say is improved.
Hmm.
Jordan Clarkson, six man of the year. Those guys are
D'Angelo
all
D'Angelo Russell.
all stars.
But I'm agreeing with you, and then I've had this conversation with you and several people. The fact that one is player development, some of those guys were very young, and you stepping
Yeah,
right into the scene with the Beam or Bron being
yeah,
in LA, it's win or go home every
yeah.
game. Now you get to go to wherever it is. You say you go to Minnesota. Nobody looking for you in Minnesota. Go ahead, get your shots up. New Orleans before Zion got there.
Hmm.
Utah is trying to figure everything out. So these guys get to go other places and just hoop, like you mentioned.
Right.
The pressure's off of them, and now they're like, cool. Julius Randle's in New York. New York been bad for 20 years. They didn't expect much, and then they made a great run, made the playoffs. The reality check set in for them. But now, hey, maybe we can get some pieces back out there, and it's not just a laughing stock
Hmm.
because they ain't been relevant since your boy. The hook her around the world. Why didn't he dunk the ball? You like how I do that in there, huh? but I think I think what you were saying with the Lakers, if they can get everybody back on track, scary again, hands
Yeah,
down. I agree with you 100%, man. Let's just go to the East Coast real quick. We'll wrap it up.
yeah.
Philly, they played the Hawks, which was a surprise. We'll end with them. Washington, Russell and Bradley Beal. Did you see something? Do they need to break that up, or could they get
I
one
see
piece?
something. I see them being terrible again.
That's how you gonna do Russ, huh?
I mean, I think Russell gonna be out of there. I think he's probably gonna end up going to a contender or something like that.
Mm.
Um, I don't see him staying there. Honestly, I mean, for
Even if
what?
they get a piece with Bradley Beal,
What? But who they gonna get?
um, this is
I mean, I
what if
heard
they got
Nene Hilario.
Montrez?
Nene is trying to come back.
Nene, Nene is
Hilario,
not. Nene is not helping you. They better off getting
nah,
somebody from the big three. You get Joe Johnson. Joe could still hoop. They better not
you
disrespect
can.
Joe. I know he almost
But like you,
40.
but like you were saying, Montrez,
I know. Because Montrez is wild. Russell is
yeah,
wild.
yeah.
No, I know. I just
I
want
don't
Russell
know.
to do well.
Well, he got to get out of there.
Okay. Maybe go to the Lakers.
That's what everybody wants. But I mean, we'll see what
We'll
they're
leave it
gonna
at
do.
we'll leave it at that. Um, real quick, Boston and Brooklyn played in the first round. Kimba was hurt off and on. He's no longer with them. Do you see Boston improving? They got rid of the coach, a lot of stuff. They're trying to make changes. Could they get not Russell, but A1 point guard and a nice piece? Could they be right there in the chip, or are they just another team just out there playing for a playoff position? Because they have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown who didn't play because of injury.
Yeah.
Um, what you think about Boston?
I think if they don't make a big move in the offseason, I think they'll be right back in the same situation like
Okay,
as this
okay,
year. Eighth
okay.
seed. Jason Tatum is unbelievable. Jalen Brown, unbelievable. But I think with the coach, Brad Stevens, moving to the general manager position now, I think they saw how successful they could be if they only had just Jason Tatum by
Mhm,
himself and not have the duo. So if
mhm.
they can get some pieces back, if they decide to trade Jalen to another team, I mean, I think it'll help. I mean, I don't know. They just gotta. They're like the Nuggets or like one of the middle of the pack teams in the West. Like that's they got players and they got potential, but they just can't get over the hump. And sadly,
Okay.
I think they've reached, when Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum were they rookies that year when they almost beat LeBron and them in
Uh,
Cleveland?
they could have been, but I can't
Yeah, I
give
can't
you a hundred
remember.
percent on that.
Yeah, I think that was the best that they was gonna do. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. A lot rides on this off season for a lot of teams.
Okay, okay. And then I mean, let's just talk about it. Brooklyn.
I mean, I don't know. This is like a circus out there. I mean, you got Kyrie just saying, "Hey, man, I need a break." I know, the mental health thing is really huge now in the world, and everybody's speaking out about it. But I see what you did there.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, with Kyrie, with KD, with James Harden, you got all those guys, right? On paper, it sounds great,
Yeah.
but once again, role players is big. So you got Blake Griffin that came.
Yep.
DeAndre didn't even play.
Yep.
Um, and then you got a bunch of other guys that just didn't really get it. So that's why I think they need role players, not just names.
Yeah. And then a lot of people forget they still have Spencer Dinwiddie,
Oh,
who but who has
he's probably
said,
not.
like if they're not gonna give him a bag, he wants to come play for the Lakers or the Clippers. So
Damn.
yeah,
Spencer with the Lakers, that might be something. You don't really
that's just
need
a
Kuzma then.
nah. You don't need Kuz at all.
Damn.
But yeah, I mean, let's talk about what you put on your head, real
Oh
quick.
yeah, real
Little
quick.
shameless
Yeah.
plug, hardwood plug.
I
It's
mean,
our
it's
super teams because that's where the league is going now. It seems like we
mhm,
had the big threes, and now it looks like we're going into the era of the super team. So we wanted to
mhm,
get ahead of the curve and put our little twist on it, and put a hat and a shirt out for you guys. So that's coming soon.
mhm. We'll look out for that special super team capsule. Real dope thing we came up with. And like you mentioned, the league is going in that direction.
Yeah,
Um, it's been like that for a couple years, but now it's just the norm. So I wouldn't be mad if somebody hooked up with Dame. I wouldn't be mad if Paul George and Russell, well, they were already together, but Paul George, Russell, and Dame were on the same team. Steph and Dame were on the same. I don't care anymore.
yeah,
Um, it sucks for the small market teams and the small markets, but guess what? That's just how it is.
yeah. I mean, but
Unfortunately,
Phoenix and Milwaukee are proving that hey, you just gotta know how to hoop together
and
because they're
that's
both
why
small
Luke,
market.
and that's what Luke to the beginning of the podcast. See, I threw that live to you, my teammate. So let's before we get out of here, you mentioned kind of who your pick would be.
Yeah,
Just give me your pick and why, and then we'll just get out of here, man.
yeah. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. I just think Phoenix will win in 6 games. I think with their style of play and their pace um, and their defense. Um, I just think it'll be too much for Milwaukee, especially if Giannis isn't playing, man. Like we look at the Bucks roster. Yeah, they got PJ who's going to be playing in one of his former teams, so I'm sure he'll get up for that. But they also have Brooke Lopez, who is like a dinosaur sometimes, and DeAndre Ayton's more athletic, and I feel like they'll stretch the floor with him, and bring him out of the paint and move him around a lot, and that'll be an advantage that they can exploit. But I mean, who knows? Like if Giannis is there, then it's gonna be an interesting series. But I still think Phoenix is gonna win. They're just playing too well right now. To
Too well.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll keep it short and sweet. Before I give you my pick, I will shout out the Hawks, who had a great run. Nobody expected them. That's kind of middle market, not big market.
yeah,
But Trey Young and those guys, John Collins, Bogdanovich, they got a nice core. Gallinari, he's out there. They got a
yeah,
nice core. Nate McMillan is the head coach. I know we shouted him out a couple years ago, a little early, but look out for the Hawks if they can continue to stay healthy
right.
and maybe just add some more role players. I think they'll be back. Them and the Knicks look good. So I'll stay on the East. I'll pick the Bucks. Hopefully Giannis will be back for at least game one or two.
Hmm.
And I'm just gonna ride with Chris Middleton. I think I love shooters. I like if he can stay consistent and hoop like he does. I'm going with Chris Middleton, and I'm gonna go with my guy Drew Holiday. I just feel like they deserve it more than anybody else. Of course, Giannis, but if they don't win, this will be the first year that I'm still cool with Phoenix because I love
Yeah,
Monty and I got love for Devin Booker and CP. So I'm happy either way. But I'll pick the Bucks. I know you got Phoenix, and we'll see what happens.
yeah. I mean, either way, I just hope it's an exciting not playoffs, but championship
Mm-hmm.
series. And this is what we all been wanting for the last couple years, or I should say, a long time, because
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
Cleveland, there's no Golden State, there's no Lakers.
There's no
Um,
LeBron. LeBron can
yeah,
relax. He can rest a little
exactly.
bit. You know,
So
something something different.
this is refreshing for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm
And
sure this is not what the NBA wanted, but I think the ratings will still be high because people want to see Chris Paul, if Chris Paul can possibly get another his first ring.
I think also the NBA is not that upset because the Greek Freak, well, he's hurt, but that
Right.
name, he's one of the new faces of the league. Once Bron and some of those guys kind of fizzle out, they want to
Yeah.
focus on him. So it still be a good, I think, a good series, and I think it should be good ratings. I know we'll be watching. So
Yep.
that's it,
Yep.
man. This is fun. This is different, but I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely different. But I think going forward, it'll be awesome to be able to bring people on and to, not chat with them face to face, obviously, but screen to screen.
Right.
But it'll be cool just to go in a different direction and, bring other people that we're interested in and intrigued by onto the podcast and let them tell their story of why they fell in love with the game of basketball and, what keeps them going. So it won't be just hoopers. It'll be, people that do things within the game of basketball. So, we hope to bring, interesting guests on that will educate people and maybe open your eyes to something that you haven't thought about within the game of basketball. Because I know a lot of people don't think about, like, the other jobs that help propel like a team or like basketball in general. Like there's a lot of
Right.
people out
Right.
here doing great work within the game, and you know, with this new direction, we hope to get those people on the podcast and introduce you guys to some new people.
Yeah, and just to piggyback what you were saying, and it also opens people's eyes to realize, hey, I'm not gonna make the league,
Yeah,
but I can be a photographer for the league like yourself, or I can be a trainer or assistant coach or a player personnel. There's so many
yeah,
jobs, referee within the game of basketball, that you still can be involved like we are, because we love it so much, but we're just not on the court, on the
Right.
hardwood, you know?
Yeah.
So I just, I agree with you 100%. And I think moving forward, all the guests we'll have on, um, it'll be some good stories and good conversation, and people will realize, hey, it's a lot of people out there doing things that are behind the scenes, and they don't get the credit for it, and you didn't even know that those jobs existed. So it's dope.
Yeah. Oh, and most importantly, we're changing the name of the podcast. So it will no longer be the Hardwood Brand Podcast. It will be the Shoot for Teams Podcast
There it
presented
is.
by the Hardwood Brand. So we're excited about that. We
So
will have a Instagram page for it, and you'll be able to go on there and get updates and stuff, as well as on our normal IG page. But we're gonna try to push you to go over to that new page and interact with us there.
shoot for teams. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
That's two gems in this one virtual podcast. I guess that's what it's called now.
I guess so.
I'm old man Ross, so I got to get the new lingo for the young kids. I don't know, but two gems you dropped: Super Teams coming
Yep,
very soon,
yep,
and Shoot for Teams podcast presented by Hardwood. I love it. I love it.
yeah. So you'll be able to see the new logo and all that stuff very soon. So
Okay, sounds good to me, man. Well, I'm signing off, I guess, or logging off, or just closing my computer. Old man Ross, sweatsuits and fly kicks, and you are. What's your
D
nickname?
Hill, the gift. I'm gonna keep it the gift card bandit.
Okay, I'm just checking. I know
Yeah,
you got some
yeah.
gift cards.
Of
All right.
course.
Yeah, that's so nothing has changed. Spread love and not hate.
Hey, if you can't get in the gym, get out to the playground, shoot some jumpers, at least about 8.
Yep, y'all be safe out there. Peace.
Out of here, y'all. Peace.